Okay guys, so what we're going to work on today is we're going to work on reducing our need for the metronome when playing. Now, you can probably imagine if you are a musician playing on stage, or even if you're just wanting to show off to your friends or your family or whatever, you probably don't always have a metronome. When you see people playing guitar, you don't often see them with a metronome. A metronome is more of a practice tool. And the point of the metronome, really, when you really get down to it, is to try and give you good timing that's kind of going on in your head all the time, rather than having to rely on a metronome. It helps us to have good timing in our head, so that we've kind of got the metronome going on all the time in our mind, so that we have something to compare to. And there's quite an easy way that we can do this, or at least a simple to understand. So we're going to imagine that I've been working very hard on this. I can play the whole thing through with the metronome, and not only that, I've been able to get all the way up to 160 beats per minute. If you can't play at 160 beats per minute, that's totally cool. As long as you can play through the whole piece at any metronome marking, it doesn't really matter, then you'll be good to go, because this will apply whatever speed you can play it at. But we're going to imagine for today that I can play it through 160 BPM just to show off. So first thing we do is this is my maximum. I'm going to start off at my maximum, make sure I can still play the whole thing. I won't play the whole thing through, I'll just play the first line for you. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 imagine I played the whole song. Then what we're going to do is we're going to simply half the metronome. Okay, so 160 divided by 2 equals 80. And what that means is that something to mention before I get into that. So we are going to still play at the same speed, but because the metronome is now half the speed that it once was, the metronome is now going to click only on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 so we're still actually playing at the same speed. It's just the metronome is clicking only half as many times, and we're gonna think about it that the metronome is clicking on 1 and 2 and 3, and I'll show you what I mean by that we're still playing at the same speed even though the metronome is half. So if I go back to 160 BPM and count along with it, in the middle I'm going to switch it to 80, and you're going to hear that I will still be speaking at the same speed, but the metronome will only be clicking half as many times. So that sounds like this: 2 and 3 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and so my voice is still going at the same speed, but the metronome is now only clicking on 1, 2 and 3 and not the ands in the middle. So have a go. So the first thing to do is maybe to just have a go at that with your voice only, is to compare the two. So whatever your maximum speed is, in this case 160, practice counting along with it, and then half it in the middle, and see if you can keep the same speed, and see if you can line up the metronome to click when you go 1, 2 and 3, and then you put the ands in the middle. Then obviously the next thing to have a go at is playing at half the speed. So 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and just like that, and see if you can match those up. So if you're having trouble with that, then you just think, oh, this feels really difficult. I haven't got as much metronome information. Then what you do is you can then just go back to your original speed and compare and contrast. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and wanted to be sneaky, you could get someone to. I probably can't do it because I've only got 2 hands. I can challenge myself and see if I can change it in the middle. But yeah, you could try and get someone to, as you're playing, change the metronome in the middle to be half the speed. So let me see if I can do it. Probably going to fail miserably, but let's have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Yeah, didn't quite manage to get to the mouse in time. But if you have a friend or a parent or a brother or a sister, someone around who can change the metronome in the middle, that might be a good way to go about it. So that's what we're going to try and do this week. It's a tricky skill, but as I said before, it's a really worthwhile thing to be able to try and reduce. Now that you guys are so good at using the metronome, we're going to try and reduce the need for the metronome in our own playing. So start off at whatever speed you can play it at, play it through a few times just to kind of really get it in your head. Divide that number by 2. Maybe count along with your voice first, and then see if you can play at half the speed, but keeping the speed at which you're playing the same. Okay, it's quite a lot of information for you guys. So, as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any videos or anything that you'd like to send me, or anything else that you'd like to send me, please send an email to Louise at Dalmain and she'll be able to forward them on to me. Okay, have a good week, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!